If you are planning on making your favorite fall soup and using her little tip there, we have the perfect thing to complement the recipe. Lisa Dinsmore, she's here and she's going to share this recipe for what she's calling a simple homemade bread loaf. And she's saying it's perfection. I was telling her I'm scared to make my own bread. Everyone says it's easy. I'm scared. She's going to prove me wrong. So I'm guessing this would just go with anything. If you could smell it in here, you would run and make this right now.
That's part of the reason. Like, if they could make the perfect homemade bread candle, I mean, it would sell out, right? It is. It's part of it is definitely the smell that it brings into your home.
Yeah, so. And I think something that scares people when they think about making bread is like, I don't have all day. Like, what's our time commitment for your recipe?
This recipe, start to finish, an hour and a half.
What?
And that includes your rise time, so you can start making your soup. Your bread and soup will be finished around the same time, and you've be good to go.
Oh my gosh, an hour and a half for fresh bread. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Lisa, what are we putting in for this bread?
So I've started out, I've already got my 4 cups of flour in here, and this is just bread flour. You can use an all-purpose flour. Okay. Bread flour has a little bit higher gluten count, so it's gonna give you a little bit stretchier, softer bread. Okay. But all-purpose works great. Okay, we've got 1/4 cup of sugar.
I see sugar.
This is sugar.
Okay.
Tablespoon of salt.
Okay.
2 tablespoons of yeast.
Okay. Any yeast you recommend?
You can use instant. You can use just the original dry active. Any kind that you want. It's really, you're going to be good with either one. Okay, now hold on.
Okay,
we're going to mix that quick, and we're going to add our water. Now this is 3 1/4.
It's warm.
It is warm.
Okay.
So the temperature that I like to say when you're doing breads, so that you don't kill your yeast, because I'm sure you've heard you can kill yeast. And I think that's part of what scares people, is that they think they're going to kill their yeast. If you go for baby bath temperature, you're going to be just fine. So we're going to go ahead and add that water in, and then you're going to continue adding flour until it starts to pull away from your bowl. You should be able to touch your dough, and your hands aren't going to be all sticky. Okay, so just a little bit at a time. Yes, a little bit at a time. I'd probably go a cup at a time for a little bit, and you're going to roll some bread out here for us.
I'm ready.
I lied.
A little oil.
2 tablespoons of oil, and we're going to add that in there also. Don't forget your oil.
And then once your dough is pulling away, you're ready.
Pulling away, you're going to then, you can either leave it in your mixer, or if you want to throw it into a different container, you can do that also. If you are going to switch it into a different container, you're going to want to make sure that you spray your bowl and spray your lid. If you'll see, a little bit rose up, and you don't want it to get everywhere. Okay. And we're going to spray our counter. Okay. Or you can use some flour, but yeah, you don't want it to stick. And if you've sprayed your bowl, it should come right out clean. And then what we need to do is we're going to cut this into 3 pieces. If you want to be really precise,
you can weigh it,
You can weigh it out, and I do it sometimes, but definitely not always.
So this will make 3 loaves.
This is going to make 3 loaves. And one question that I get often about this, we'll go ahead and just do the one. One question that I get often about this is, can I use whole wheat flour? You can use up to half. I wouldn't go any more with this recipe without making some adjustments. Okay. So go to that point. Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Look at you go. Hey, you're doing great. Okay. So what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to end into the shape of your pan? The pan. We want it to be that length, but you're doing great. Okay. How long do I need to do it? You don't. You can be good. If you feel like it's easier, you can roll it out into like a rectangular shape and then roll it up. But honestly, what you've done, so I like to kind of pull and tuck it. Tuck it under, okay. The whole thing is you want the top to look smooth and pretty. We don't care what the underneath side looks like. We're going for smooth on the top. And then that's it. You're going to leave it like that. You're going to take a towel and you're going to cover it and you're going to let it raise. You've already let it raise one time after it's about 20-25 minutes. You're going to let it raise. Then you're going to move it over to this into your pans. You're going to let it raise again until we get it to the point that it's ready to go in the oven. Now these might be just a little bit overproofed. I'm not sure. And the way that you can tell,
overproof means it's risen too much.
Risen too much. The way that you can tell is you're just going to take your finger and you're just going to push it on one of those loaves. Now, if you can see, as I push that, it's coming back out. It's borderline risen too much.
Okay.
If I pushed it and it just stayed, and you'd totally be able to tell. It would be too hard, like it hasn't risen enough. But if I can push it and it pops back out like that, as it sprung back out, we're good to go. It's ready to go in the oven. Now, if I push it and it deflates, don't lose hope. Reform your loaf and throw it back in there. And you can do it again. You can do it again.
Okay, and then how do we bake to what you're saying is perfection?
350, 20 to 25 minutes. And let's see if we can pull one of these out. I will say that these ovens are a little...
The Studio 5 ovens are a little tricky.
Yeah, they're definitely not like at home. And what I like to do, I just like to take a cube of butter and I'll literally just rip one end off of it. And because my bread is hot, and
just rub that right on there.
I'll just rub that all over, slather that down good. And then you are gonna want to you're gonna want to pull those out of your pans to let them cool. Otherwise, if you leave them in the pan, it's going to get all soggy from that steam. So we're just going to put them on a cooling rack. And like I said, these ovens are a little strange because the bottom is not as cooked.
That's all right. They look fantastic and they smell fantastic.
And I want to give you one more tip.
Okay.
When you are cutting a hot loaf of French bread, don't use just a regular serrated knife or you're just going to smash the loaf. But if you use an electric knife to cut it, it will slice perfectly through it and it'll be great.
I'm not as scared. I'm not as scared.
You can do it.
Thank you
I promise
so much.
You can do it.
Okay, where do we get?
Taught so many people that they could do this.
What's your website?
MamaLisa'sKitchen.com.
Mama Lisa, she'll teach you how to do it.
At Mama Lisa's Kitchen.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, I brave it.